The air hung heavy, thick with the stench of stale cigarettes and damp concrete. Maruf's tiny apartment, tucked away in the bowels of the city, felt more like a cage than a sanctuary. Outside, the relentless drone of traffic painted a backdrop of urban chaos. Light flickered through a grimy window, casting long dancing shadows across the worn furniture.
Whispers, no, 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 no.
Maruf sat hunched over his laptop, his brow creased with worry. The headline screamed of a man accused of unauthorized photos on the subway. Fear, cold and clammy, tightened its grip around his chest. He reread the article, each word a hammer blow to his already frayed nerves. The words blurred into meaningless ink blots. His heart pounded a frantic rhythm against his ribs. The room seemed to shrink, the walls closing in, suffocating him. A tremor ran through him, and he hastily shut the laptop, as if it were a venomous snake ready to strike. Then, he noticed something. A small red light blinking on his window ledge. Maruf bolted up, flung the window open. Nothing. Just the city sounds below.
Paranoid whisper. They're watching me.
He grabbed his camera bag and started stuffing clothes inside. He needed to leave. Doubts, like venomous serpents, slithered through his mind. Had he been foolish to trust Ken? The faces seemed familiar. A realization crept over him. He had seen these people before, on his camera.
They're watching you, Maruf. They know.
At the time, they had seemed like the ravings of a madman. Now they echoed with chilling clarity. Who were they? And what did they want with him? He glanced nervously at the phone, its silence both a comfort and a curse. He longed for it to ring, to hear a friendly voice cut through the suffocating silence. But a part of him dreaded the possibility of what he might hear. The confrontation with Ken at the warehouse flashed before his eyes. The dimly lit space, the smell of dust and decay, Ken's frantic whispers.
It's not what it looks like, Maruf, you have to believe me.
But the evidence had been damning, the hidden files, the cryptic messages, the gun. And then, the chilling realization that Ken was involved in something far bigger, far more dangerous than he could have ever imagined. The memory sent a fresh wave of fear coursing through him. He had trusted Ken, considered him a friend. Now he wasn't sure what to believe.
What have I gotten myself into? Maruf likes to goon after taking the photos of them.
His gaze fell on the seemingly innocuous red light blinking on his laptop. It was a detail he had dismissed before, a trivial malfunction, but now it pulsed with sinister intent, a watchful eye, a silent accusation.
They were watching me.
The realization slammed into him with the force of a physical blow. He was being monitored, his every move tracked. But who was behind it, and why?
I have to get out of here.
He slammed the laptop shut, the sudden movement echoing in the silence of the apartment. Panic welled up inside him, threatening to consume him. He had to get out, disappear, vanish into thin air. His mind raced, a whirlwind of fear and confusion. Where could he go? Who could he trust? Every instinct screamed at him to run, to flee the suffocating confines of his apartment, of the city itself.
I need to pack. Clothes, money, passport, anything essential.
He grabbed a backpack, stuffing it with essentials, clothes, money, his passport. His hands trembled as he worked, his movements jerky and uncoordinated. He had to get out, now.
The subway. It's my only chance.
His escape route was instinctive, a desperate scramble for survival. The subway, a sea of faces, a labyrinth of tunnels, a chance to disappear. The subway station was a cacophony of noise and motion. The air hung thick with the smell of sweat and stale air. People rushed by, their faces a blur of indifference.
Just blend in, don't stand out.
Maruf, his heart pounding in his chest, blended into the crowd, another face in the urban throng. He clutched his backpack tightly, his eyes darting nervously from side to side. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat, every face a potential enemy. The station announcements echoed in his ears, a distorted, unintelligible soundtrack to his fear.
Almost there, just keep moving.
He reached the platform just as a train screeched to a halt. The doors slid open, releasing a wave of humanity. He hesitated for a moment, his nerve almost failing him. Then, with a deep breath, he stepped inside. The train lurched forward, plunging into the darkness of the tunnel. Maruf leaned back against the wall, closing his eyes, trying to control his breathing. He had made it. He was free.
Finally, I'm safe.
A hand on his shoulder jolted him back to reality. He opened his eyes to see two men in dark suits, their faces grim, their eyes cold and calculating.
Ugly, stinky Indian boy.
one of them asked, his voice devoid of emotion. Maruf's blood ran cold. They had found him, but how?
No, this can't be happening.
As he was dragged off the train, a single thought echoed through his mind. This was only the beginning.